Hey ladies, coming at you from my walk into downtown Portland today, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about the crazy election and what's going on in America since the aftermath, and catch up with you guys, see how you're doing, how you're feeling, and if anybody has remorse or if we're hopeful. Let's talk about it, and it's gorgeous outside, so there's that. Okay, so the election just happened and everybody is wondering what next, and I think that's where I'm at, just kind of waiting and seeing. But I have to admit, I'm learning a lot from watching people handle the outcome of this election and seeing people be able to cooperate and deal with the outcome versus the people who are just attacking the quote-unquote enemy. And it's weird how a lot of the Clinton supporters are blaming everybody except Hillary Clinton for why she didn't win. I find that fascinating. And I also think it's really interesting how we aren't talking about what we should do as a people to not have this happen again. We're talking about how to get somebody out of office, or I think the topics are wrong. I think that we need to start seeing the bigger picture and realizing that we need to stop trusting all these authority figures to have our best interest at heart, and realize that when we all joke about politics and politicians being corrupt and liars, that's not somebody we want in charge of running our country. So what do we do next? What do we do to make sure this doesn't happen again? Why do we have a reality TV star heading to the White House? I have to admit, some of the plans that he's coming out with what he will do as president actually seem really cool. One thing I'm bothered by, being a part of the LGBT community, I'm a little upset with how the gays are reacting right now and almost fear-mongering and doing a scary elitist job for the establishment. I just feel like with a lot of these gays saying that they won't be accepted, and because of Pence, they're gonna have to go into conversion therapy and stuff. I mean, you guys, come on. This isn't a dictatorship. He's not gonna walk into the White House and overnight we live under monarch rule. Like, stop. Everybody's losing their cool, and we all need to figure out, the reason we're corralled so easily as a society is because we don't think for ourselves. We act in fear. So let's not do that, eh? I really think this is a learning experience. I hope the youth, the millennials of today, don't all get warped into that whole SJW, overly offended, Trump hurts my feelings, or Hillary Clinton was Mother Bear, and don't get caught up in that facade. Understand that this is all a psyop. This is to fuck with everybody's head. And what's going on here in America is bleeding out into the rest of the world. And I think it's our responsibility as Americans to step back, realize we're caught up in chaos. It's a whirlwind right now. It's a tornado. And we need to sit back and wait for the storm to settle, because we're not figuring anything out yelling at each other right now. I personally take the stance I didn't vote. I know a lot of people like to say if you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain. I don't think I'm complaining. I'm riding the wave, seeing what's going on. But I also think that's exactly opposite of how you should feel. If you don't vote, you didn't put anybody into that White House. Therefore, you should have every right to complain. I feel like I have the most right to complain because I didn't play in the facade, and I still have to live under this authoritarian rule, and I don't want to. I just want to live as a man on this earth and experience it like everybody else should, freely and not with restriction, and not these crazy borders and this fucking wall idea. You guys, you gotta, come on now. The trillions of dollars that would cost, it's unfeasible. Nobody's building it. It's not happening. No corporation's gonna sponsor it, and if they do, that's a corporation that's gonna bury us. It's scary. People don't think shit out. You want a fucking wall. You want a wall to keep other human beings from stepping onto soil that you believe is yours because your skin is white. I'm so confused by those people, and I do not side with those people. I think we need to come together as a world, and no nation should have a border. I think you should be able to walk wherever you want to in a country. That's crazy.
Yes, bitch. Take a photo. Flick, flick, flip a fucking shout out. All you lame ass bitches is an
Okay, if I get hit by a car on camera, don't laugh at that. I'm just kidding. Only laugh at that because, what else would you do? It's the internet. Okay, so just to pick back up, I don't want to spend this whole video just talking about politics, but I do think we need to sit back and collectively realize that this is just a game. We're watching a game, and it can fall apart as easily as it's put together, and I really do feel that it is crumbling. I think that this Trump win, it's a blindsiding move. Let me tell you, I am completely caught off guard. I didn't see it coming. I really thought Hillary Clinton was handed the White House. I'm half debating if the people actually did get one in and we elected somebody, but that's like impossible in my narrative I have going right now, which I don't want any impossibilities, because once you do that, you think you know everything. That's the bad boat to be in. I want to accept all, but having the thought of the people electing somebody into office just isn't realistic in my head. So I do think the elite put people in office. That's where I get really confused about this Trump win. We kept hearing about how other politicians didn't like him, nobody's endorsing him. Was that all fuckery? Like, are they trying to make him the people's candidate in a weird way, even though he's full of hate? I'm so confused. It's really interesting. I mean, they duped me. I really thought Hillary was going into that office. I have to admit, as an American in here on the soil here, if you're watching outside the country, a huge sigh of relief. I mean, that's what I felt when I heard that Trump won and not Hillary. I have to admit, I was nervous. I just assumed it was going back to a Clinton. I assumed we were in another 4 years to a possible 8 of war. I was nervous about that. And now with Trump, I don't know. I don't know. This is something completely fucking new. It's different, but it could be completely controlled. And that's where I question. I just question, you know, I'm not saying it's the truth. Maybe people did put him in the office, and if you believe that your vote was counted and Mabel and Rose down the road sent your ballots upstate and they fucking, I mean, come on. I don't buy into that. And, you know, presidents of the past, I think my boyfriend was quoting on Facebook, it's like Roosevelt or somebody said, pick your president, they're all corrupt. One of them in the past said, presidents aren't elected, they're selected. I think there's truth to that. I think we don't look into it because we're scared of knowing it, and it's real, and until we face it, we're always going to get stuck with this, you know, lesser of two evil bullshit that nobody should be buying into. And those people who didn't vote for whatever your reason, I feel like you trusted your gut, and there's good in that, and I think you are the true patriot to this country because you're not playing into the game. So hold strong to that and let people know that, because it's encouraging to others and it lets others know, hey, you have the right to not vote too, because it's important to hear that. But I think enough with that message. It's a weird air about this country right now. Everybody, when you walk around in the city, I mean, there were giant protests here last night in Portland, which oddly the police allowed, which doesn't make sense because there's protests here all the time where the police break it up and it's like 20 people. It doesn't make sense. But this one they allowed, so that also has me like, what the fuck? But it was massive, and it's a weird tone to the city right now. Like, people are being weird. Everybody, like, normally you walk by people in the street in Portland and people are like, hey, let's strike up a conversation, and you're like, get off of me. Now everybody's just kind of like smiling and nodding and just kind of like keeping to themselves. I think nobody really knows how to react. Nobody knows how others are going to react. It's a very sketch time, but it's also a time where we can grow and learn, and I do feel like we are going to raise our consciousness through this. I really do. I think the establishment, however you want to look at it, whether you want to call it the Illuminati, the elite, the rich, whatever, I think that they're trying real hard to keep us divided, but I think we're coming together as a people. We're realizing we don't want to keep perpetuating war, and we don't want to keep perpetuating this poverty that's taking over the country, like state by state. It's really sad. I mean, here in Oregon, the homeless rate, you guys, my heart breaks. I walk down the street, you're gonna see homeless everywhere, and it's real. I used to live in the Midwest, and you wouldn't really see homeless people, and the ones you would, you could tell they were just panhandlers, and it was fake, and they were driving cars at the end of the day, and it was weird. Here it's like, you're seeing families, man, with little kids, you're seeing elderly people. It breaks your heart. And this country's falling apart because we're not helping each other. We need to help each other. Fuck these politicians. Fuck their corporations that boost them only to hurt us. we got to start paying attention to each other. Our fellow man is so much more important than buying into this bullshit. They spent $2 billion on this election. $2 billion could have put a lot of people in housing. So start thinking about it and start thinking about what your taxes are going for. Why are they empowering a militarized police force that's going against people who smoke weed versus putting it towards housing and schooling so our kids have an education? And, you know, one thing I did see about Trump, he's going to abolish Common Core math. Thank the fucking Lord above. I mean, you guys, look into Common Core math. It's the dumbing down of a generation. It's terrifying. Anyway, I'm going to cut out today. I'm running late for my boyfriend because I keep stopping to film. But it was really fun being outside with you guys today. You know, hang tight. Don't live in fear. Know that your world is what you make of it. Put out positivity and enjoy your fellow brethren as you walk into downtown. You guys, we got to start talking to each other again. We just really do. Take care of yourselves today. Show each other respect. And let's get past this terrible, terrible time and move forward and create from destruction. All right, you guys, sending out love. Peace.